Hello! Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving straight into an explainer of the absolute chilling 8th episode of Shadow Slave titled Nothing at All. So grab a seat because right now our survivors are stranded on this freezing blood-soaked stone platform. They supposedly just defeated a massive mountain tyrant, but as we're about to see, this nightmare, it's really only just begun. The tension here is so thick you could cut it with a knife, so let's get right into the story. So the monster just took a massive plunge off the cliff, right? Our story picks up in the dead silence right after. You've got Gregor, Benny, and Frazier, and their eyes are just wide with this immense relief. But wait a second, is it actually dead? Just as they start to catch their breath, Sunny completely shatters the moment with 5 terrifying words. Because the monster isn't dead. I mean, wow. You can literally feel the dread just wash over the whole group right there. The relief is gone, instantly replaced by sheer terror.
Now you might be wondering, how does Sunny know this? Well, this is where his cold, calculated logic really shines. He breaks it down into 3 steps in his head, based on how the spell works. First off, Lit RPG Rules 101. He didn't hear the spell actually congratulate him on the kill. No notification, not dead. But he can't exactly explain game mechanics to these guys, so he jumps to step 2. He reminds them, hey, this beast leaped from a massive height earlier and landed without a single scratch. A little fall off a cliff, not gonna cut it. Which brings us to step 3, the terrifying reality. That thing is definitely still alive down there, and it is absolutely going to come back to hunt them. They have to get moving by sunrise.
With the clock ticking down to dawn, they have 0 time to rest. They are in pure survival mode. Gregor, being the pragmatic soldier he is, steps up and starts dividing up the chores. They desperately need food, water, warmth, fire, the whole shebang. So Gregor takes on carving up the dead oxen for meat. Frazier, who is clearly terrified of the dark, gets sent to search the shadows for firewood. Benny volunteers to look for warm clothes. And Sunny? Well, Gregor tasks him with scrounging water flagons from the fallen soldiers. They are literally out there, in the pitch black, scavenging from corpses just to buy themselves one more day.
Okay, let's follow Sunny out into the shadows for a second. Picture this, it's freezing, he's shivering violently, wandering way past the safety of their bonfire to search the dead. The shadows are just incredibly heavy and oppressive. He's loaded down with half a dozen water flagons when he trips over this broken body clad in leather armor. Out of nowhere, a cry of pain cuts through the dead silence. And guess who it is? It's the old veteran. Yep, the exact same guy who brutally whipped Sunny earlier just for trying to accept a flask of water from Gregor. Now here he is, horribly wounded, his chest and stomach torn open, barely clinging to life by a miraculous, agonizing thread.
What happens next is honestly a masterclass in quiet, tense storytelling. The dying man is coughing up blood, weakly reaching out, trying to focus his eyes on Sunny. Sunny looks down, spots a shattered sword nearby on the ground, and curious, he picks it up. He asks, "Are you looking for this?" The veteran just stares at him with this completely intense, unreadable emotion. Sunny, looking at his former abuser, just sighs and says, "It's the least I can do." He leans in and uses that broken blade to slit the man's throat. A grim, bloody mercy kill. The soldier twitches and essentially drowns in his own blood. Was it gratitude in his eyes or hatred? Honestly, Sunny has no idea.
And this brings us right to the core theme of this episode. Nothing at all. This is a massive character moment for Sunny. It's his very first time killing a human being. You'd think he'd feel a rush of emotion, guilt, fear, or maybe even some twisted sense of revenge, right? But what did he actually feel? Absolutely nothing. His internal monologue reveals this really dark truth. Growing up in the cruel, unforgiving outskirts of the real world had completely desensitized him. It essentially prepared him perfectly for the horrors of this exact nightmare. He just sits there in the quiet, keeping this old man company on his final journey.
But the quiet never lasts long. Suddenly, the pacing just shifts entirely. A familiar, ethereal voice whispers right into Sunny's ear. "You have slain a dormant human, name unknown." Sunny actually flinches at this. It's such a dark, twisted realization. In this nightmare, the spell cold-bloodedly treats a human life just like a low-level mob, just another achievement to tick off a list alongside slaying monsters. As Sunny dryly notes to himself, they definitely do not show this part in the webtoons and dramas. And then the spell hits him with one more thing. You have received a memory. Sunny just freezes. Okay, let's pause and talk lore for a second, because this is absolutely crucial to understanding the stakes here. What exactly is a memory? In this world, a memory is a magical boon, like a weapon or an enchanted piece of gear looted from a defeated enemy. But here's the crazy part. It is completely weightless, totally undetectable, and you can summon it out of thin air with just a simple thought. Best of all, unlike regular objects, you can actually bring a memory back to the real world with you. For a poor kid from the outskirts like Sunny, an item like this is unimaginably valuable. A magic sword or an enchanted shield could literally change his entire life.
So Sunny's heart is absolutely racing. What incredible power did he just inherit? He's hoping for something that shoots destructive sonic waves, or maybe repels incoming projectiles. What does the spell actually give him? A silver bell. I am not kidding. He summons the runes to read its description, and it's literally just a small memento of a long-lost home, completely useless in a fight, and the absolute punchline? The runes say its clear ringing can be heard from miles away. Seriously, in a dark world filled with monsters that are actively hunting you, a super loud bell is literally the worst item you could possibly ask for. Sunny is completely dejected. He's really starting to see a cruel theme in how the spell treats him. Just terrible, terrible luck.
Moving past his disappointment, Sunny's pragmatism kicks right back into high gear. First things first, he strips the dead officer of his bloodied fur cloak and sturdy leather boots. Man, for the first time since this nightmare started, he is actually warm. But as he glances out into the dark with his night-piercing vision, he spots Benny. Now remember, Benny was supposed to be gathering winter clothes to keep the whole group from freezing to death. Instead, he's out there greedily pulling rings and valuables off the fingers of the dead. This cements a terrifying realization for Sunny. His companions are incredibly selfish and totally unreliable. The rules of this nightmare are still a massive mystery, and every decision is a huge gamble. The only person he can truly count on is himself. With all their supplies finally gathered, the group spends the rest of the night huddled with their backs to the bonfire. And let me tell you, it is a completely sleepless night. The fear of that giant tyrant coming back to finish them off keeps them all wide awake, just staring fearfully into the oppressive blackness. The only exception seems to be Gregor. In the middle of all this terror, the stoic soldier just sits there in the bright light of the flames, calmly and methodically sharpening his sword against a whetstone. And in a beautifully eerie kind of way, that rhythmic scraping sound becomes the only source of comfort Sunny and the others have in the dark.
Finally, the agony of the night breaks. At the break of dawn, the sun lazily begins to rise, warming the freezing air. The survivors load themselves up with their scavenged supplies and set out into the bitter cold, leaving the stone platform behind for good. Sunny takes one last look back. He actually survived the place where the entire slave caravan was supposed to die. But looking ahead to the mountain pass, he knows other horrors are waiting before he can finally wake up from this nightmare, if he ever does. Will the deadly mountain pass claim them first, or will the greatest threat turn out to be the very companion shivering right next to him? If you like the story, please like and share it, and subscribe to the channel to watch future episodes. Thanks for watching.